I got another cool fan art, and this time it's of Mairtin. So this one got sent in to us by Uriel, and they said, when doing the fan art, I thought about would be cool doing something like showing off something like his agility, taking into account of some of his skills of him as a hero. Hope you like it. I do, and here's why. What I like about this style is it's kind of classic cartoon meets 90s video game protag. I actually think it pairs really well with the Madeline one we got, like if they were Zelda and Link. It's got me wondering what a Tales of Atonement video game might actually look like. What kind of genre would we use? So I've been talking with and listening to a lot of devs on Blue Sky and learned a couple of interesting aspects to think about. The first thing to do would be to figure out what genre that works best with our stories genre. Given that we've got a foot in paranormal romance, something like an Otome game or visual novel might work well. The character images could all still be done by our comic artist, and we could even have it fully voiced. But something like that might be better a little deeper into the story when the characters are better known, a little older, and have their relationships a little bit more fleshed out. So there's other aspects to the story we could all consider, like Alden as a whole. Alden is a budding village that's only existed for about a decade and a half currently in our story. Blair is going on 16 years old, and she was the first child born there. So we could do something like a village improvement game like Stardew Valley. It would require players to complete tasks for the village with an appropriate character, such as baking bread with Tam or smithing with Pat and their father. But that could be a really big game too, and big games like RPGs are actually really difficult for first-time devs, so I've been told. The easiest type of indie game apparently is a platformer. That could work. Primarily playing as Mairtin or Madeline, players could choose from up-close attacks or combat from a ranged position. I'm not entirely sure what we'd do for level design, forests, caves, a lake. Maybe it could be a wholly original and feature boss fights against Lady Gwen and other Scottish spirits. Is there anything about, and probably not something that's going to happen anytime in the foreseeable future. Our big focus right now is bringing you more of the story that we have to tell right here on YouTube or over on Patreon. But while I'm at it, why not dream a little? Based off of, let's say, Uriel's design for Mairtin and Pablo's design for Madeline, I would see the Monolith platformer game as a what-if scenario where Madeline, in her zeal to discover Scotland's magic, travels through the country with Mairtin as her companion. We default with single-player options being for players to select one of the two of them, and ideally I'd love to see a two-person cooperative with an option to drop in or out at any time. Regardless of the player choice of character, both would appear in the story, so there would only be a singular narrative. Mairtin would fill a more athletic role as your average video game protagonist. He would run, jump, swim, and fight at melee range with his sword based on the one we see Matthias with in Episode 1. Madeline, on the other hand, would primarily use magic to overcome obstacles and deal with enemies. Levitation, water spells, and even little healing magic would help bolster her lack of offensive capabilities and fill a much-needed role in co-op modes. The level designs would look like different regions of Scotland with different stories and creatures to contend with, maybe starting off in Alden with Lady Gwen using red caps and kelpies and even the Nucklevy as further enemies to be dealt with. I would definitely love to include voice acting, and we already have a talented cast to draw from. Everything from dialogue to combat would be fully voiced. For a first-time thing, it'd have to stay simple. I am not about to learn game design on top of everything else I'd be doing. This would require us to hire some already experienced devs in order to see it through. This is a key factor that would make it take longer to get out than anything I could put a time frame to. Video games are one of my favorite mediums for storytelling because I feel like when you engage the audience with as much of their attention as possible, the immersion makes the story that much more memorable. What genre do you think would make a good video game for Tales of Atonement and Monolith? Or, what genre of game is your personal favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Coloring sketchlines like this is always a little kooky to me. I don't want to pretend like I could improve it much with my current equipment, so I work with what I've got, and besides, it preserves the thought and the heart behind the artist who provided the lines to us to begin with. So this was another simple one to follow up things with. Come back next week for the next project. Like, subscribe, and ring my bell so you don't miss any notifications, and thanks everyone for watching. We really love getting fan art of any kind, so if you've got some you want to share with us, make sure to let me know. It doesn't have to be just lines, any art is good art. Patreon is our main hub for all things involved with Tales of Atonement, and our patron support helps us produce our episodes faster and with more consistency. But what's in it for you? From there you can find our Tales of Atonement Discord server, art, music, comics, as well as exclusive viewership for upcoming scripts. Supporting us on Patreon is what shows us we're part of a growing community of artists, actors, history buffs, and storytellers that have become fascinated with our characters these past couple of years. This is our passion project we've put our hearts and souls into over 20 years, and your support really helps keep that flame alive. Right now, a big thanks to Pammy Poo, Shadow Fox, Charles Tam, Arya Gamari, Jace Morland, and Lunder Lumen, and of course, everyone who joins us each week. At the very least, I hope you'll like this video, subscribe, and ring my bell if it really resonated with you, and I'll see you again next week. Many a mickle, Maximukle.